Hi, I'm Mike Yanessa. Welcome to another episode of Car Stories here on PCTV. You're looking at Big Red now in the showroom. It's been here all winter. It's done. It's got exhaust, street legal, and those are just some of the awards that it won, or the awards that it won last year in the shows I put it in. And really a blast to drive, really smooth, no issues. Happy with Big Red. You know, the coolest thing as a car builder and a car nut like I am, is with this car I got to do what I wanted to do. You know, there's subtle customizations on it, you know, no front bumper, the low Kindig-it wing, and details like that. You know, when you do them for judging and for original restorations, you got to follow GM's guidelines and GM's rules. And you'll see that in a minute when I take you in the back, because I got a surprise for you tonight. But wanted to talk a little bit about Big Red, the upcoming show schedule. It's not going to be at the Motorama in Oaks this year. That's March 23rd, 24th. I can't make that one. But I'm excited about April 13th at Maple Grove. It's Muscle Palooza. Hemmings Motor News puts it on. It's a really good car show. You'll see some really nice builds, you know, not just a regular cruise night car. And there'll be drag racing. So mark your calendars for that. That's my first event with Big Red this year, and then you know, some more to follow. And I'm going to drive it on the street. I only drove it 2 times last year on the street, 3 times, and I want to drive it a little bit more on the street because it is a blast. It really came out nice. Very happy. So let's go in the back and check out what I got for you. So look at this baby, 69 Z28. Look at the magazine here on the window. See how many loyal viewers are out there. Remember when I had Bill Clemens on one of my early shows, probably 10 years ago, with this red Z28, the only one known with a bench seat from the factory. 602 total cars. Me and Bill have been friends for years. We've been doing Camaros for years, and he finally sold this one last year at Barrett-Jackson. So this one behind us is Bill's car too. When Bill restores a car, it's to the T's. Every screw, every chalk mark, everything is as correct as possible. And this car, the 69 Z28 JL8, which means 4-wheel disc brakes, there's only 206 cars built. Don't know how many of them were Burnish brown. It's original color with the Endura front bumper. That's the highlights of this car. And he's had it since 1980. He had the red car since, you know, I guess 79, right before that. But he finished the red car first, and now he got this one finished last year. It went to the Camaro Nationals, and it scored, I believe, 962 points. We're going to take a look at the judging sheet in a minute. But in the showroom, I talked about Big Red, that I got a chance to do what I wanted to do with the car. This one is a totally different deal. When you do a car like this, to this level, it has to be the way GM did it, not the way Mike wanted to do it. So I did the body paint on it, and for example, the stripes, they very meticulously measure these stripes, that they're just right. They're actually a little crooked, or they actually have a little flare around here. They don't go tight around. That's all looked at when it's judged at the Camaro Nationals. So hours and hours laying out these stripes. Bill helped me. I said, you lay out the stripes and I'll paint the car. I said, because I don't have the hours to do it, and I don't want it to be wrong. So him and I worked together, laid out these stripes, hours and hours, and then I finally painted them. The Endura front bumper was in bad condition. I'm seeing that it's held up well. The car just came out very, very nice. You know, outstanding, you know, one of the nicest in the country. And like I said, when Bill does a car, he pays attention to the details, and he builds that red Z28 that he had scored 5,000 points out of 5,000 at the Camaro Nationals. I mean, nobody scored higher than Bill with these early Z28s. And this one here is just every bit of it, you know. So let's check out the judging sheet, and I'll show you what they're talking about. Judging sheet, you can request after the show's over. You don't get it that day. and they send it to you, and it'll tell you where you lost and where you got your points at. So he got 962 out of 1,000. So now you open up, and it'll list under each item the interior. Should have ACPF25 white part number 6438261 oil filter. He had the correct oil filter, but it was in the trunk. Nope, it's got to be on the car. The hood insulation is one up for debate. It should be molded. Some people say it shouldn't. So he's been working on the car, perfecting the comments that they made, and he brought it up to me because they took some points off for scratches in the roof and the left-hand door. So I'm going to buff the car for him and go over it again, because now he'll go back this summer. The Camaro Nationals is at the old Mom's Mall, which is now Classic Auto Mall. If you didn't get a chance to go there yet, I don't know. They have 1,000 cars, and most of them are for sale. And then throughout the year, they have flea markets. They have a Mustang show. They have the Camaro show. So this July, this will be back at the Camaro Nationals, and hopefully he can move up to as close as he can to 1,000 points. It's very hard to get a full 1,000 or the 5,000 because, you know, some things you just can't change. Like, for example, when I had Creamy, they took points off for undercoating because undercoating was not factory. It was dealer done. Well, I was just happy that it was solid underneath. It was original undercoat with no rust. I'm not scraping all the undercoating off and starting, so I accepted that they took 10 points off. So that car, I think, scored about 975 out of 1,000. That's as high as I got with that one. But, so yeah, let's take a closer look at this Z28 and check it out. The interior is a standard black interior, not the deluxe. It has the wood grain on the console and the dash. It has console gauges and tack, shoulder harnesses. And you'll see what Bill does, and you know, people do, you put the tape over here because your hands actually scratch the chrome. He's got tape on the door sills because you're going to drag your feet when you get into the car. So he's protecting it so that, you know, when it goes back to the show this year, you know, it won't have new issues. You know, he's correcting the ones that are bad. But standard black interior, he did all that, beautiful job. How about the wheels? Now the wheels aren't original. He has rally wheels for it, but he put these on because, like the Yankos and the guys back then, this was the wheel they would have bought. But did you ever hear the term mag wheel? Why is that? Magnesium is what they made these wheels from in the 60s. Then they found out that they cracked and they, you know, were porous, leaked, and they started making them out of aluminum. These are original set of magnesium 5-spoke wheels, all the way around. Just beautiful. Gives the car that race car look, that Trans Am look. Because remember, the Z28s with the 302 were built for Trans Am racing. That's how the 302 engine became about, because they had a cubic inch limit. Oh, let's check out the engine. If I can remember where the hood latch is at. Rally sports are different than standards, and so there's the engine, detailed up, the original engine, numbers matching, and I can bet you every clamp, every screw, it was you know, done correctly, because Bill did it. Dated alternator, dated distributor, smog system. Just a beautiful restoration, folks. So check out this cool sticker on the windshield. Ewing, Chevy, City, Canton, Ohio. So the Chevrolet dealers back then, some of the bigger ones, like you hear the name Baldwin Motion, or you hear Dana or Nicky, they had a Chevrolet hot rod department at a lot of these dealers. So the Z28s and the big blocks and the Corvettes and the Chevelles would be, you know, the options that you wanted to put on it from GM, or aftermarket options were put on in a special service department. That's where this car was sold from, new. We know that. And Bill and I traveled to flea markets like Carlisle for years with a sign, because in 1969 it was sold new at Ewing Chevrolet. He talked to the salesman that sold it. The salesman that sold it got heck by the owner because he ordered this car and it was very expensive with the JL8 brakes and the Z28, and it didn't sell. They sold 2 brown cars, so he remembers that. And then Bill bought it in 1980, and he traced it back one from there. But from like 1970 to 69, whenever it sold, until the late 70s, we don't know who owned it. So he's constantly looking for information of, you know, if anybody remembers a brown Z28 that ran around Canton and Poland, Ohio. So that's just a cool story on that, on why that sticker's on there. And that's, like I said, part of the car hobby, trying to find and trace the ownership to see who had it and what they did. He bought it in pieces in 1980. So in 10 years' time, which isn't that long, especially when the cars we drive today, but in 10 years' time, this car went from a functional car to a rusty, banged up, disassembled Z28. But it had the right motor, trans, rear, so it is a numbers matching car from the factory. But that paper trail I always talk about adds the value to the car. That's why he's trying to see who owned it in the 70s. Hours and hours of time went into making this car as correct as possible. See the trunk weather stripping. GM, original, very expensive. Nobody reproduces it that it looks like the GM. Got the orange inspection paint mark on it. When I painted the inside of the trunk and the door jambs, I put flattener in the clear. You can see the trunk lid's not real shiny because lacquer back in the day was not real shiny until you rubbed it. So we tried to duplicate that, came out very well. Even to the point we had he had quarters put on it. We didn't do it, but someone else put quarters on it. All right, have to duplicate the sloppy weld. And there's a date here. He made me duplicate the date. It's called, it's a code. In other words, all the sheet metal's coded. You know it's the original quarter panels from the car. It was only from the factory. Spot welds, duplicated them. So when they judged this car, they looked for all this stuff, and this car has it. All Z28s had rear bumper guards only. You could order front, but standard was the rear bumper guards. And of course, in '69 was the first year for the chrome exhaust tips that hung out like that, 2-inch or, you know, little tiny things. But that's correct for a '69 Z28. So if you get a chance this summer, the Camaro Nationals at Classic Auto Mall, right over in Morgantown. Always a good show. Each year they're getting more and more cars. I believe last year they had 700 or 800 Camaros. And then, you know, the mall is full of cars for sale, all makes and models. So that's a nice '69 Z28 with 4-wheel disc brakes that is just beautiful. So what do you think of this one? Black, 57, 2-door hardtop, Bel Air, factory 4-barrel, automatic, power steering, no power brakes. So every car has a story, right? That's the name of the show. And generally, when you talk to your friends, they say, well, I had one when I was in school, or my wife had one, or whatever. This one, I used to pump gas to when I was 16 years old at the Getty station on North Charlotte Street. And it came in with primer spots all over it. And you know, it was a work in progress, but it was 50,000 mile original car. And he used to work at Firestone. A couple weeks later, it comes in shiny black. A friend of mine, a local collector, bought it in 1982, and he's had it ever since. So this paint job goes back to like 1976. It still looks great. You know, yeah, there's a couple little flaws here and there, but beautiful, beautiful car. The car was originally that rose color, and then it was painted black, silver and black interior. But this one sold right away. I had it in the window, and a few weeks later, it sold because it is that good. No rust underneath, 58,000 original miles. Just a nice, really, really nice 57 Bel Air. Hopefully we'll be getting a Corvette in for sale, I think a '79 Corvette. So keep your eye out if you're looking for one. Black, nice one. So anyhow, over here, check this out. You know we sell wheels and tires here at Wheels in Motion. You know we have really good prices on tires for your Honda, your regular everyday driver. But we also get specialty tires like these Vogue wide white wall radials for my Cadillac that I've been working on, the 68 convertible. And then 6-inch wire wheels, really, really hard to get that moldy spoke like that, 6-inch. 7-inch won't work because it hits the fender skirt. So cool wheels and tires, some Cobra GT radials over there, we sell a lot of them. And of course, your American 5-spokes, we sell a lot of Americans. And then I want to talk to you about this beautiful toolbox we have here. This toolbox was a mistake when it got ordered, and it can't be returned. Well, it can be, but it's like $350 shipping. So if anybody needs a weather guard toolbox for their full-size truck, Ford, Dodge, Chevy, stop in, check it out. This is about a $1,400 toolbox. It's a nice one. It's brand new. It's been sitting here for about maybe a year, and I got to move it out. I had it marked down to $10.95 cash. Come on in and make me an offer because it can't be here anymore. So if anyone needs a contractor, worker, or racer, somebody needs a place to keep their tools in their full-size Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, if it fits Dodge, it fits most of the full-size pickup regular bed, not the step side. So anything else you need, make sure you stop in at Wheels in Motion, 525 East High Street, Pottstown, PA. So check out this transmission here, Powerglide. Many years ago, in the 80s, 90s, I did a lot of Powerglides for drag cars. Big Red was one of the first cars in 1985 to have a trans brake. That was the latest and greatest thing back then. And for you viewers that don't know what it does, it basically fluidly, hydraulically locks the transmission in reverse and first. And you hit a button, and there's a solenoid. And you hit the solenoid, here's the solenoid that actuates it. That will hold it in first gear and reverse, and there's a button in the car. You let go of that button, and it's in first gear. So if you ever power brake the car and you get up against the converter, the whole suspension's loaded, the car's leaning, it's ready to do a burnout, it's going to move on you. With a trans brake, the motor goes to 4,000 RPM, separate from the transmission. The whole rest of the car, the suspension is not loaded. So when you leave go of that button, it loads it. And for many years, this transmission was in Big Red, and I raced with it. And it's time to rebuild it because the Moose needs a transmission. Now, I know the Moose used to be stick shift most of its life, but I want to put this one in because I have it. The converter, they mess with stall speed. Figured out the stall speed converter should be just about right for the Moose compared to Big Red. So we're going to start out racing this year with a Powerglide with a new, look at this, aluminum trans brake body. All those years that we built them, it was a GM body modified to redirect the fluid. But this is a quick release aluminum lightweight trans brake by FTI. We're going to put it in the Moose, and they have a pro dial category on a weekly event, weekly schedule up there. I think that's what we're going to give it a shot with. That's a pro tree. And of course, we'll be at the Geezers. We'll be up there in the summer with the car racing. I still got to get it done though. So a little bit of hard work, and God willing, we'll have it up there, and the Moose will be back at the track. So there's the transmission, 2-speed Powerglide. Putting her back together, it's pretty much done. And let's go see what's going on with the car. There's a little surprise over there. So what do you think? Big enough? So this car, like I said earlier, was a stick shift all of its racing life. At the very end, he had a Turbo 400 in it. But before that, it was a Lenco, it was a 5-speed, it was a small block, it was a big block at the end, it was a 540. So this is a 540 big block crate motor that you just buy, built. Because of time, I didn't have time to build my own and get it built because, cylinder heads, camshafts, all that. I only got 2 months until the track opened. So I bit the bullet and bought this 540 cubic inch motor. And I wanted to try to keep the car nostalgic. You all know what a nostalgia fan I am. But the motor area is going to be a little modern. The outside of the car is going to be nostalgic. It's going to look like the old Moose. But I went with the electric water pump, aluminum pulleys. I like these valve covers. I originally was going to put old school valve covers on it. I put them on. Everybody agreed that these just look better. So I've been getting it bolted up. He had a set of big block headers, a set of small block headers. There's a big, huge 2-inch tube, beautiful race headers today. I couldn't even tell you how much they'd be. Very expensive. The front mid plates, he had big block and small block. I took the big ones out of the block because this car had a 327 with a turbo 400 in it, when I bought it. So, but he had given me these so we can bolt the big block right up. Made it easy. So it's bolted in, the headers are on, and now I'm starting to piece together the charging system, cooling system, ignition system. I mounted a new MSD 7AL box over there, and got to keep working on it so we can go racing. Check this out on the windshield here. That's the dyno sheet. This motor was pre-run. Came carburetor, distributor, spark plugs, wires, and it was pre-run on a dyno. 717 horsepower, and the kicker is it's 700 foot-pounds of torque at like 4,400. So that should put us faster than I can go, because the car is only certified, well, the car is certified. If I had it recertified, it could go 750s. This should probably put it at like 950s, but since I don't have a license and the car is not updated, it can only legally go 10 O's in the quarter mile. So, and in the 8th mile, I believe it's like, what, 640, something like that. So I'm definitely gonna have to slow it down a little, but I can't wait for the ride in this car with a trans brake, with the big block at Maple Grove. I'm not sure I'll make Muscle Palooza, but I know I'll be there for the geezers. So, been working on the Moose, but not neglecting the Cadillac. When I get tired of sanding primer and fitting fenders on the Cadillac, my dad's 68 Cadillac that the wheels or tires are for, when I get tired of working over there on that one, I come over here, fit up some pieces, tighten up some bolts. So I've been splitting my time between the two. So in closing on Car Stories tonight, the brown Z28 Camaro was the last restoration I did for a customer about, I guess, 2.5, 3 years ago now. So I decided to get some of my cars done. This one wasn't on the schedule, but I kind of bumped it in. But I'm going to make sure I get the Cadillac done also. It's not going to sit. And just to let everyone know, out in the shop area now, I'm not working on the floor as much as I used to. I turned some responsibilities over to my son, and I'm trying to get some of my cars done and maybe slowly retire. Because December 2nd was 44 years that I've been in business. Many different types, gas stations, speed shops, working as a sub for other people, but we've been here, believe it or not, since 2013. So this Eastwood MiG 180, what a nice welder. The shop welder was old, and I think for a while it was on its way out, because I got this from Eastwood and I can weld better than I ever did. And welding is not my top quality. I mean, I can do it, but I'm not like an expert at it like Colin or Bobby Aquays or somebody like that. But the Eastwood MiG 180, so if you're looking for a welder or all types of automotive tools, we're lucky enough to have Eastwood right here in our hometown up on Shoemaker Road in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. So just wanted to give a good plug for the Eastwood MiG welder. So anyway, I'll have plenty of time to go racing, go to the car shows, and have fun this summer, so I can't wait to see you. And always remember, if you have a special car story, get a hold of me, and you can come on the show and tell your story on PCTV. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.